In the last session, we had very clear discussion. Have you remembered, right? So, how we can implement our own API framework? Are you getting? So, just Durga framework. we implemented here in the last session. Durga framework. Sir, API for web API we developed, right? Okay, that's all. This is it is I didn't use REST framework anywhere. Everything we did on our own. Okay, like now there is one small problem we have to fix in this framework. What is that problem? Is sir, all CRUD operations should be performed by using single endpoint. Remember this one. All CRUD operation should be performed by using single endpoint. Single endpoint compulsory. If you are trying to use multiple endpoints, then automatically it is not. It's not a real-time standard. Okay, compulsory. We have to use a single endpoint only. If you are going to publish multiple endpoints, unnecessary your partner applications may get the problem. That's why single endpoint must be there. Sir, in the last, if we covered our examples, if we see our example without the REST-M, if you see, sir, here views.py. If you are seeing views.py, do you know there are two classes I define. There are two classes I define, sir. The first class itself is employee detail CBV, which is always talks about with respect to IDs. With respect to IDs, right? So with IDs, it's always going to talk about. But under this one never talks about ID. So here to get all the records, to create a resource, this code I wrote here. I wrote next to get based on ID, next to perform update operation and to perform delete operation I implemented here. Are you getting right? So how many URLs are required? There are two URLs are required according to our code. If you want to send according to our code, if you want to send a get request, if you want to send a get request to get a particular ID, can you please tell what is the endpoint, sir? What is the URL, base URL? To get here to get a particular record based on ID. Then what is the URL, sir? HTTP 127.0.0.1:8000/API/1 ID slash like this I have to pass. Sir, do you know this is called base URL? Observe that this is called base URL. This is called the endpoint, right? Okay, this is called endpoint. Like this we have to pass. Now, sir, to get a particular record, this is the thing we have to take. Now, to get all the records, observe a bit very carefully, sir. To get all records, if you want to get all records, then we have to use just like this. Regarding to get all the records, then we require to use this one. Observe that, sir. Observe a bit very, very carefully about this. So to get all the records, this is the possibility you have to use. Suppose I want to create a record, to create a resource. Then what we have to go for? Yes, to create a record. Yes, this is the endpoint we require to use. Similarly, to delete and to update. Sir, here, we require to use to delete. Just observe, to delete, sir, this is to delete, to update a particular record, then automatically we have to pass the ID, because sir, to which record we have to perform updation, compulsory we have to specify. Next, here, do you know to delete a particular record based on the ID, to delete a particular record based on the ID, then automatically we require to pass. So now all these 5 operations are exposing with how many endpoints? My partner applications, if they want to perform, if they want to use this API, then how many endpoints compulsory they should be? 2 endpoints. 2 endpoints compulsory they should be, sir. With just simply API, with API/1 compulsory, sir, 2 endpoints must be required for 2 people, right? Okay, which is never be real-time coding standard. It is against the coding standard, right? So all CRUD operations, I want to implement by using single endpoint. Regarding all CRUD operations, I want to implement by using single endpoint. This is what we call single endpoints. This thing itself is nothing but real-time coding standard. Everyone can able to understand? Please confirm the requirement. So how many endpoints you can take for our API? How many endpoints we can take for our API? Only 1 endpoint. This is the real-time coding standard, sir. How you can implement that part I have to do. Now, what I will do is, in the existing application only, I want to implement so to work for the single endpoint. After completing, one more example I will discuss, so that you people can get much complete clarity. Okay, now have a look once about this one, sir. Here, employee detail CBV, employee list CBV is there. What I want to take here is, let me in the views.py, one class, let me comment, sir. One class, let me comment one class. Sir, which class I want to comment is, okay, maybe first class or second class, anything, you can just comment this one, sir. Sir, I'm commenting this second. I don't want, because one endpoint means only one class based view should be there. Sir, I'm commenting second. Only first one I want to use. Okay, even for the first one also, I want to change a class name. I want to change the class name. Or instead of this commenting, let me take one separate class. One separate class. Let me take one separate class. Okay, which is the responsible to do that? Okay, well, now have a look once, sir. Class employee CRUD CBV. I'm taking employee CRUD CBV. I'm taking, sir. Sir, employee CRUD CBV should be child class of view. View. Okay, like now the next I have to implement which operations are get operations. Sir, it is a bit dangerous. Remaining things copy paste on most of the thing. First get must be required. DEF get. Okay, self comma request comma here star args star keyword args. Okay, well, def get the self request star args star keyword args. Okay, like now here listen carefully. From the partner application, we have 2 methods are there. Have you observed, right? We have two methods are there, sir. Okay. If you want to get based on ID, then we have to call this one. If you want to get all the records, okay, this is. Are you seeing the difference in the endpoint? Please confirm, friends. Are you seeing the difference in the endpoint or not? Yes. What I have to take is, forget about all these things, right? Just I'm commenting. I'm just commenting, sir. Sir, control slash forward slash. Who is asking? Selvarthi. Control, sir, just select and control, sir, slash. It is going to comment all the lines. If I can use control slash, again, control forward slash. Okay. Now, I don't want, sir, here, I don't want to pass. Here, just observe carefully. what my requirement here is, legend this one, sir. What my requirement is, you may pass or may not pass ID. You may pass or may not pass ID. If you are passing ID, if you are passing ID, then that particular ID record I want. If you are not passing ID, then then all records information I want. Correct or not? That is about our requirement, right? If you are passing ID, that particular record I want. If you are not passing any ID, then all records I want. Okay, but endpoint base URL endpoint is always the same. I don't want to touch this part, sir. Then how you can handle that is the very, very important. What I will take is ID is equal to none. I'm taking because you may pass or you may not pass. Regarding you may pass this value or you may not, because default value like this I'm taking. Now my target is observe a bit very, very carefully about this code. Now I'm taking data is equal to sir empty dictionary. I'm taking sir empty dictionary. If ID is not none, what is the meaning of that? You are passing. Please respond. You are passing some ID. If ID is not none means you are passing some ID. So in that case, data is equal to ID. I'm taking. So here ID I'm passing, sir. So if here just take very, very special case, sir. If you are passing ID, now your data dictionary contain one key value pair. What that key value pair is this ID. Okay, that's all. If you are not passing ID, then what is the value of data, sir? Empty. That's it. Everyone can able to understand? Friends, are you able to understand? If you are passing ID, then this data dictionary contain one key value pair. If you are not passing ID, then what is the default? Empty dictionary. Regarding what the default? Empty dictionary, right? Now the point is here. This is my base URL plus endpoint, comma data is equal to this data I have to send, but in JSON format. This data I have to send in JSON format to the partner application. Okay, can you please guide what the next line? Oh, we did several times. What the next line? JSON data dumps of data. JSON dot dumps of data. That's it. Now this is okay. Get resource. Okay, like if I call get resource without any passing ID. If you are not passing ID, pass. I want all records. If I pass ID 3, now I want only third ID record. Okay, like this is. But URL is always the same. Regarding URL is always the same. Base URL endpoint is always same. I don't want to change. Okay, for both. Okay, well, how to implement this get method is a bigger challenge. Now observe that. Take very, very special case. Sir, can I copy paste these things also? Because I may require to use this. Okay, HTTP response mixin, next serialize mixin. In the last session, so multiple times we use HTTP response mixin, serialize mixin. Okay, like a view. Now, first, what I want to take. There is one more get method is there. Get object by ID. This method is there, sir. Get object by ID. This is a utility method. Do you know what this method is going to do? If you pass ID, the corresponding object is going to return. If that object is not available, what it will return? Please confirm. If that object is not available, what it will return? It will return none. That's why. So you can check, sir. Okay, well, now how to implement get method? How to implement get method? First thing, array. What is the client partner application provided data? First get that data. Data is equal to request dot body. Request dot body. Now I got the data. So first question, is it JSON data or not? Is it JSON data or not? If it is not JSON data, just simply provide, hey, please provide valid JSON data only like, sir, is there any method to check is it valid JSON or not? Yes, friends? Ayo, is JSON, already I implemented one method. Is JSON like this, right? So now where I implemented, sir, inside utils.py. Are you getting right? I implemented one method. If it is the JSON, returns true, otherwise false. Like this I covered already, right? Now here what I want to take is I want to check is it JSON or not. If it is not JSON, provide response saying, array, please send a valid JSON only. Okay, like now only this particular code can I copy paste or not. Now observe this one. Now have a look once. Somewhere we covered this one. No, is valid JSON or not? Can you please observe? Are you seeing anywhere this code? Is JSON like here have you observed? Data is equal to like this we have. Okay, here like this, right? Now have a look once. Can you please, most of the work today with the copy paste only we can do that. Can you please have a look once, sir? Not required to keep any explanation. Now you can easily understand. Data, client partner application provided data. Now, is JSON of this data? Is it JSON or not? If not JSON data, JSON.dumps of, please send a valid JSON data only. Return self.render to HTTP response JSON data status 400. Any doubt up to this? Please confirm. Any doubt up to this? Okay, clear. It's a because we did already, right? Now the next question, sir, it is the valid JSON data only. Array, if it is the valid JSON data, convert into Python dictionary. Okay, P data is equal to, anyone can you please guide how to convert into Python dictionary? Please guide how I can convert into Python dictionary. JSON dot loads of data. Data means client provided data I'm passing. Now can you please convert into Python dictionary? Now I got the Python dictionary. Now first question I will ask, array, in this data, is the ID attribute available or not? Is the ID attribute available or not? I want to check, sir. How to check ID attribute is available or not? Very simple. ID is equal to P data dot get ID. If ID is not available, then simply none. If ID not available, then simply none. Remember this one. So here it is. Now I'm trying to get client provided, from the client provided data, what is the value of ID? Okay, well. Now, very important point. Up to this, any doubt? This is the dictionary. Nandakishore, it is the dictionary. Converting JSON data into Python dictionary. From the Python dictionary, get method. So what is the value associated with the ID? If this ID is there, the corresponding value we will get. If ID is not there, then we are going to get none. Now my question is, if ID is not none, If ID is not none, what is the meaning of this? Anyone, can you please tell? If ID is not none, what it means? Good. Is not none means ID is there. If ID is there, then what I have to take? I have to provide only that particular ID data only to the end user. Correct or not? If ID is there, man, I have to provide only that particular ID only, ID data only. So first get the EMP is equal to, sir, do you know self dot get the object by ID of ID we have. I hope you may aware this code. You may aware this code. I am getting self dot get object. Here it is not from the mixin. Here only I define the method. Here only I define the method. So whatever ID you are passing, just the corresponding object we are going to get. If it is not exist, then none we are going to get. So now I got employee object. If the corresponding employee object is not there, sir, ID only, you are passing ID 100 ID, there is no employee object. Then how to handle? If EMP is none. If EMP is none, sir, none. Can you please tell what will happen? If EMP is a none, what will happen? Anyone, if it is a none means, sorry, the corresponding, so the corresponding record not available, no matched record found with the specified ID, like I have to provide. Now let me copy paste somewhere. I hope this type of thing is there. Okay, here this is. If you want, I will explain again. Don't worry, sir. Just can I use this one? JSON data is equal to JSON.dumps of message the requested resource not available. Return self.render. Okay, like the requested resource not available with matched ID. Okay, well, this is the response I'm going to send. Any doubt? Any doubt? Up to this? Okay. Now here, so if the control is coming to this part means, if the control is coming to this part means, sir, this return statement is not executing, then only it will come. This return statement not executing means this condition fails. This condition fails means employee available. If the employee is available, then convert that employee data into JSON is equal to self dot serialize of EMP. Have you remembered? Somewhere I write this serialize mixin. Have you remembered, right? Serialize mixin. Sir, from the mixin, we convert this one into JSON data. Okay, well, now just return that JSON data. Now return that JSON data to the partner application. That's all. Return that. Okay, well, now observe the flow very clearly, sir. First, I'm getting client provided data. Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, just I provided, please send valid JSON data only. Next, if it is valid, convert into Python dictionary, and just check in that ID is available or not. If ID is available, then identify corresponding employee object. If corresponding employee is not there, provide requested resource is not available. If the corresponding object is there, provide that object info in the form of JSON to the partner application. Everything is clear. The code you have to understand. Any doubt up to this? Please? Okay. Well, what is the next thing? Can you please confirm when the control will comes to this place? Line number 36. When the control will comes to line number 36, if ID is none, correct or not? If ID is none, if ID is none means client not sending any ID. If the client not sending any ID, then we have to provide total data. Are you getting? Total data we require to pass. For that, is there anywhere code is there? Mostly copy paste. Can you please observe? Yes, but while performing copy paste, observe indentation, very important. So when the control will comes to this place means if ID is a none. If ID is a none, can you please get query set? Can you please get a query set and convert into JSON, convert into JSON and send that JSON. Okay, well, but here HTTP response is not required. Better to use self.render. Okay, this is the more meaningful. Any doubt, friends? So if you can able to understand this one, now get method with the ID, without ID, happily it is going to work. Can I test this functionality up to this? Okay, but it is a different class, right? It is a different employee CRUD CBV. Let me go for URLs. Now employee CRUD CBV, like so this is our URL pattern. Okay, well, same URL pattern. This is our URL pattern. Employee CRUD CBV dot as view. Okay, well. Now, listen a bit very carefully, sir. Now, let me open partner application. Partner application is also ready, but in the database, I don't know how many records are there. Okay, first let me run the server. What is the application name? Without the rest M. Without the rest M. Okay, now py manage.py run server. Happily application, server is going to run. If any problem is there, we can fix it, don't worry. Okay, now let me open command prompt. Without the rest M. Okay, rest model. Now here py manage.py dump data test dot employee, okay, hyphen indentation 4. Can you please have a look once? Yes, total how many records are there, sir? 5 records are there. Remember, primary key 1, primary key 2, primary key 3, 4, 5. Total how many records are there, sir? 5 records are there. Now I want first third employee record. Already I set a 3. Get resource of 3 like this, right? Get resource of 3. Now py test.py observe carefully. Am I getting third employee information or not? Ray, respond. Am I getting third employee information or not? Yes, perfect. Okay, now I'm taking, sir, some 5. I don't know, 5th employee record, maybe 500 like this. So now let me cross check. 5th employee record we are getting. So don't feel this 200. 200 is the status code. Success. Okay, this is the thing we are getting, sir. If you are not, suppose I'm passing 50. I'm passing 50. What will happen? 50. I'm passing. What will happen? So ID is there. ID is there, but the corresponding resource is not available. Can you please observe? 404. The requested resource not available with matched ID. Getting the requested resource not available with matched ID. Perfect. It's going to work. Okay. Now I'm not passing any argument. If I'm not passing any argument, total 5 records we have to get. Are you getting? Complete. This is the first employee. Next, second employee, third employee, fourth employee, fifth employee. Like a total 5 employees data we can able to get. How many endpoints I'm using for this? How many endpoints I'm using? Only one endpoint. Are you getting? Only one endpoint. That's all. Sir, this is the style you have to use while developing the code. So get method is very clear for you. Okay. Now, yeah. Now we have to go for, okay, this is the get. Next we have to go for post. For the post, CSRF exemption is there. So that's why first let me do that. First level, let me do that. Next, for the post, already our URL to create a record, already it is the API only. That's why we are not required to worry. We are not required to worry. Only put and delete, we have to change the code. Put and delete, we require to change the code. But for post, it is the same. Okay, what I will take care here is, sir, post somewhere. Post maybe here this is the class CBV. Sir, post is there. Now have a look once. This is our, okay, this is our employee CRUD CBV. Now I'm taking post method. Are you getting post? First get the data. Observe that carefully, sir. First get the data. Next, is it JSON or not? If it is not JSON, provide please and valid JSON only. Otherwise, EMP data convert into Python. Next, create a form object. If the form is valid, save that resource created successfully. If any errors are there, can you please do this one? Are you getting? I have one small doubt, sir. When it is going to fail? When it is going to fail? Form dot is valid. Am I implemented any validations? Am I implemented any validations in the last examples? Yes, we implemented. Where, sir? Where I did? Inside forms.py. Inside forms.py, salary should be, if salary less than 5,000, immediately rise validation error. Okay, like now with the single endpoint, post method is working properly or not, I have to check, sir. Let me go to my, sir, client application. Let me comment this code. Okay, now this is the thing what I'm trying to take. Let me remove the comment. Next, create resource. Okay, like, sir, this person, this is the new record I have to place. This is the new record I have to place. 700, Katerna, 7,000, Mumbai, like a new record I have to place, right? Okay, that's all. Now 7,000. Okay, I don't want 7,000. I want 4,000 only. Is it going to be accepted? Please confirm. Is it going to be accepted? No, because validation fails. If validation fails, what will happen, sir? I will look once. Yes. So 400 status code. The minimum salary should be 5,000. Regarding minimum salary should be 5,000. That record not inserted. If you want, you can see only 5 records are there. Last record is the Shiva only. Okay. Well, validation is also working properly. Now here I'm taking 10,000. Okay, or 7,000. I'm taking, sir. if I can take 7,000, if I can take 7,000, observe, is it going to work or not? Please, can you please confirm? Is it work or not? Yes. Why not? Happily, resource created successfully. Now have a look once. Observe carefully. A new record came or not? That's what you people should be aware. So now post is also working. Post is also working based on same URL only. Okay, well, now what about put and delete? What about put and delete? It is the same terminology, sir. Let me go for put method and the delete method, sir. It's a very easy, sir. Nothing will be there. So now let me write the code and I will copy paste. Here, just have a look once. If df, okay, what the method name? Df, what the method name? Put, okay, self comma self comma request star args star kw args like I'm taking. Now take very special care. ID is not needed. If you are going to pass ID, then endpoint will be changed. Remember this one. ID I will send in the form of dictionary. Regarding in the dictionary itself, JSON data only. Okay. First thing what I will take here is, okay, very simple, sir. Very simple. Now I will copy. I will copy up to this one. Sir, have a look. I will explain. Don't worry, sir. Sir, don't say only copy. I will explain. Sir, first thing what I'm trying to take, get the data. So in this data, now have a look once. Client application how? Sir, let me comment this code. Now update operation I want to do, sir. Update operation I want to do. Can you please update resource with the ID? Now I want to here update resource with ID 8 I'm taking, sir. Okay, now can you please make ECL as _9 E address as delete. Regarding E address as delete like this, right? Now observe, sir, update resource ID new EMP like this we are going to get. Can you please send here? Please make sure here we should not pass any ID. Which ID you want? Here you require to specify. Regarding here we require to specify that ID, sir. Sir, can you please tell what is the code we have to take? ID is ID. Okay, ID is equal to is ID, sir. ID is ID, comma, like. But anyway, this ID we have to take within single quote. So whatever here I have shown, whatever ID you are passing, I'm adding in the dictionary only. Now I'm sending this dictionary in the form of JSON data. Any doubt? Can you please observe? Are you in the position to see this one, right? Now how the data is going to come to the partner application, to the Django application. So the data will reach Django application. Okay, sir, in the form of JSON only, including ID also. Okay, now come to our story, sir. Views.py. Here observe, I got data. First question, is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please send valid JSON data only. Okay, if it is the valid, converting into that, get ID, sir. ID compulsory should be there. If ID is not none, ID is not none. Assume that if ID is a none, if ID itself is a none, then what is the way how to handle? Because ID is not none. If ID is none, can you please tell what I have to take? If ID is a none means you didn't pass any ID. Then to which record I have to perform updation? To which record I have to perform updation? It is always a problem. Correct or not? It's always a problem. That's why. So what I'm taking here is here. Let me copy paste these two lines. Observe carefully. JSON data here to perform updation. ID is mandatory. You please provide. Are you getting? Please provide. Okay, like I'm taking like this. Okay, JSON data return if ID is none, like I'm taking sir. Okay, well, now the next thing, what I have to take, sir, if ID is not none, if ID is not none, what I have to take? Can you please tell? If ID is not none, what I have to take? Please confirm. Anyone? Can you please confirm, anyone? If ID is none, if ID is not none, get the employee, get the EMP. So EMP is equal to self dot get the object by ID, so based on that ID. Okay, now I got employee object. But here also there is a problem is there. If ID is 100, the corresponding employee object is not available. Then how you can perform updation? That's why. So first is EMP is a none or not. Are you getting? If EMP is none, if employee is none, means no record how to perform updation. There is no such type of record. You are sending ID, man, that 100 ID you are giving. Where is the corresponding employee record? That's why the problem is going to come. Now what I will take is, sir, here just somewhere we use it. If EMP is a none, return like this, right? Now mostly copy paste. Yes, friends. Can you please have a look once? If EMP, sorry, this line is not required because already copy pasted. Second time it's going to come. Okay, can you please cross check? Please cross check. If EMP is none. If EMP is none, so the requested resource not available with matched ID, not possible to perform updation. Okay, so no resource with the matched ID can't update. Like this, I'm telling sir. Return self. So no resource with matched ID can't update. No resource with matched ID. So not possible to perform updation. Okay, like can you please tell when the control will comes to this place? Line number 71. Anyone? When the control will comes to this place, if EMP is there, if EMP is there, EMP is not none means employee object is there. Oh, if employee object is there, have you remembered original data is equal to get his data into a dictionary form. Get his data into a dictionary form. Now 1 minute. So I hope somewhere I implemented this terminology. Okay, here 1 minute. Yeah. Today, most of the things are happening with the simple copy paste, man. Yeah. Now, here see this. See this one. Observe very carefully. Very carefully, sir. If EMP is a none, if EMP is a none, okay? So, no resource with matched ID, not possible. Okay, man. Sir, employee object is available, man. If a EMP object is available, okay? So, provided data. Now I'm getting provided data from this data. Provided data means this one. Original data is this one. Original data. Now, can you please update original data with the provided data? Yesterday we covered this one. All the people are in a position to remember this logic, right? Friends. Yes. Yes, all the people are in a position to remember this logic, right? So, whatever new data they are providing, update this new data with our original data. Okay, well, now with this original data, can you please create a form object? Have you observed? Have you observed, right? Instance is equal to EMP. Why we have to take this one? Why we have to take this one? Can you please tell? Because, sir, can you please consider this data for this existing object? For this existing object, okay, like if form dot is valid, sir, it is the valid, sir. Now save resource updated successfully, return response. If any errors are there, resource not updated successfully, like this, sir, just I'm providing errors. Which errors coming? That errors information directly I'm sending to partner application. Any doubt? Can you please have a look once? How the put method is implemented? Sir, here I got client data. Observe carefully. I got client data. Is it valid JSON or not? Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, provide error message. It is a valid JSON. Can you please convert into Python dictionary and get the ID? ID. If ID is not available, then to which record we have to perform updation? Sorry, not possible to perform updation. Sir, ID is available. Get the employee object. But ID is there, but the corresponding employee is not there. Provide error information. Okay. Now, corresponding employee is also there. Corresponding employee is also there. Now, get provided data. Get a provided data in this and original data in this. Now, update this new data with this original data. Create a form object. So, consider this updated data with this already existing employee object. So, can you please, after validation, can you please save resource updated successfully? While performing validation, if any problem is going to come, send the error message to the partner application saying what problem, what errors it faced. So, have you observed, right? Seems to be everything is just normal English. I don't think you are getting some difficulty to understand this code. Okay. Next up. If form dot errors means if while validating, if any errors are going to come, that error information will be stored inside errors. Getting Anil? Now validation error will be raised. If the validation error is going to rise, then this part is going to execute. Okay, simple. Even you are not required to keep this line also. Directly we can take this one. Because when the control comes to this place is if it fails. Clear, right? It is not going to raise exception to the end user. Now, because I only raised that error, raise forms not validation error, minimum salary should be. So if it is going to, if this one is going to raise error, then is valid method returns false. That's all. This validation error won't be displayed to the end user. Okay, just is valid method returns false. While performing validation, if it is seeing any exception, simply is valid method simply returns false. If it returns true, save that. If it returns false, then send the error information like Anil. Getting? Yeah. Now let me start our partner application cinema. Sir, in the partner application is ready. I want to update the resource with 8 with the ECL 39999 Delhi is the address. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute with the primary key 8. Okay, this is the data is there. Mumbai is the address. ECL is the 7000. Now let me execute. Resource updated successfully. Resource updated successfully. Let me cross check. Can you please observe? Now what is the salary? 9999. What is the employee address? Delhi. Are you seeing the difference, right? But earlier we have 7000 on Mumbai. Now it is updated. Okay. Now same endpoint. There is no difference at all. Sir, I didn't touch my urls.py. Same endpoint. Whatever required data I provided in the JSON only. Okay, well, suppose I'm providing 80, sir. 80. Now what will happen? 80, sir. Now observe. No resource with matched ID. Not possible to perform updation. Okay, well, good. Here I'm not passing ID. I'm not passing ID, sir. ID I'm not passing. Just ECL and address. Then to which record we have to perform updation? Now observe. To perform updation, ID is mandatory. Please provide. All error conditions also working properly, sir. Not required to keep any explanation. Any doubt? Clear, right? How many endpoints I'm using? Only one endpoint. I'm not using multiple. Now let me comment this line also, this code also. Last one, sir. Delete. Okay. So here I don't want to pass any ID, this type of things. Okay. Where we have to pass ID? ID is in the dictionary. In the dictionary, data is equal to ID. ID is ID. Data is equal to ID. Now here, comma, data is equal to, here data is equal to, sir, here data. Can you please cross check how the data is going, sir? How the data is going through? I mean, ID is how the ID is going to send to the Django application through JSON only. Okay, well, now this is the partner application. Let me implement that application also. def delete self comma request comma star args comma star kw args. Okay, like now what is the next thing I have to take care? Sir, somewhere our required cinema is there. Don't worry about that. Here maybe somewhere. So if ID is not none, if EMP, wow, how beautiful, man. Complete code. Luckily I got that. Here see, get the data. Is it valid JSON or not? Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please provide send. Okay, Python data. From the Python data, I'm trying to get the ID. If ID is not none, if ID is not none, sir, not none, then what I have to do is EMP, get the EMP object. If EMP is a none, the requested resource not available with matched ID. Sir, when the control will comes to this place, anyone? Line number 100. When the control will come, please tell. Analyze and then please tell. When control will comes to line number 100, if employee with matched ID, employee is there. With matched ID, employee is there. I want to delete that employee. I want to delete that employee. What is the code I have to take? Very simple. What is the code we require to take? emp.delete. For that, nothing, no process is required, man. emp.delete. Automatically, the data will be deleted. The data is deleted from the database directly. Next, just provide some response. Of course. Status, like if the status is equal to 1, like somewhere we implemented delete. 1 minute. Yes, friends. Now, have a look once. Okay. Here I am taking status deleted item. If status is equal to 1, resource deleted successfully, return this response. Next, else unable to delete, please try again. Something like this. Can you please cross check this total delete operation? Single here, can you please cross check? Observe that I'm getting data. Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, provide. Okay, error message. Next, valid JSON, convert into Python. Get the ID. If ID is not none, if ID is not none, if it is not none, okay, get the corresponding employee. Okay, like, sir, there is one small problem is there. If ID is a none, if ID is not none, okay, you provided. If ID is a none, maybe a chance. Then what I have to take? Okay, here just to perform updation. Can you please confirm when the control will comes to line number 106? Can you please? When the control comes to line number 106, if ID, can you please tell, sir? If ID is none, if ID is a none, okay. Now to perform deletion. ID is mandatory, please provide. Okay, that's all. Now have a look once, sir. Tester.py, delete resource of 8 I'm taking. 8, sir, 8 I'm taking, sir. Now here resource deleted successfully. Let me cross check. Now the last record won't be there. Okay, again only this data is there. Okay, 5. I want to delete 5, sir. I want to delete 5. No issue. Automatic, sorry. I want to delete 5. Anyway, sir, observe py test.py. Now resource deleted successfully. Can you please cross check? Now Shiva record is not available. Okay, 400 like this. Now I'm taking here 50. Can you please observe? 50. The requested resource not available. The requested resource is not available. Clear? Suppose I'm not passing ID. ID. Now what will happen? To perform deletion, ID is mandatory. Please provide. Are you getting right? So all CRUD operations we are performing with how many endpoints? Please confirm with how many endpoints we are performing, sir? Only one endpoint. Only one endpoint. If you observe urls.py, only this is the URL, whatever I'm using. Okay, for all my partner applications, I want to send for all partner applications, I want to send this API. Okay, this endpoint. By using that, happily they can able to access. Clear, right? Okay. Yeah, Nandakishore. Here, suppose when if the status is 1 means deleted successfully. Are you getting? If the status is 1 means deleted successfully. Suppose I'm trying to delete, but database there is some problem is there. Okay, database server may be down, In that case, deletion is not going to be happen. Yeah, that's all. So for every application, for the total API, single endpoint rule is always recommended, so that my partners are not required to remember multiple endpoints. Easiness. All the things should be performed by using single endpoint only. Okay. Today I saw some IP stack. IP stack. IP stack. Yes, here 1 minute. So do you know this is one third party person, sir? This is from third party person. Okay, here this is from third party person, sir. Okay, I mean he is always going to provide IP based on the IP address, the corresponding information like. Have you observed, right? Here see country code India, next country name. Here I got from my IP broadband. Okay, like IPv4 AS IN India Telangana Hyderabad zip code including zip code it is going to provide. Okay, can you please send a request to your location also? Are you getting the same thing? Can you please observe? Shashank, I will come to that point only. Wait. Have you sent? Friends, have you sent? Yes, is it going to represent your location? Your IP address? Yes. Maybe Nandakishore, don't worry. Hindupur, Karnool, maybe the things are just the internet service provider and IP address. IP address, based on the IP address, right? Okay, so this is this one. Now, do you know if you want to access if you want to access their API, they are going to tell there are some 1 minute at the top. Is there any pricing documentation? Okay, get a free API key. Okay, like documentation. If you consider documentation, okay. Now have a look once. Base URL. Regarding base URL, this is the base URL, sir. Next one after that, endpoint, endpoint, something like. Sir, the response is going to come in this style. The response is going to come in this style. Regarding in this style, the response is going to come. So based on your requirement, you can use this data. Like we have to provide documentation for our API. Are you getting the point, right? So this is the endpoint. Base URL is this one. Next, this is the endpoint. Next, if you have any security kind of thing, then automatically like. Yeah, Vaishnav, what it means? Is it the same? Yeah, have you observed? If you want to know Bitcoin price, so I have to send this one. I have to send this is the base URL. This one itself is nothing but, this one itself is nothing but like. Are you seeing right? It is the JSON response, right? So just I will use this one in my Django applications so that at any point of time I will get what I will get the current Bitcoin price. Clear? So we can do that, no problem. Okay, now suppose my requirement is, okay, well, sir, my requirement is, observe my requirement. I want to write an application. I want to write an application, okay, just to know the Bitcoin price today. To know the Bitcoin price today, I want to write a small Python application, right? Now have a look once. Here just all this nonsense is not required. Okay, just here just observe that. Here have a look once, sir. What I'm trying to take, request.get of, okay. Now here this is the get request I want to send. What is the URL? Yes, this is the Bitcoin price. Okay, like I'm sending the request, sir. I'm sending the request. Now I'm getting the JSON response, of course. So now p data is equal to resp.json. Okay, assume that. So print of p data. What will happen? Have a look once. Is it going to respond properly or not? Py test.py. Sir, it is our regular application. Can you please cross check? It is JSON data we are getting. This is the JSON data we are getting. It is the list of records. We are getting the JSON data. JSON data something. Now what I want to take is assume that is it possible to do here. Just I'm taking this is the JSON data we are going to get, right? HTTP response, I hope. Is it going to work or not? 1 minute. What I'm trying to take JSON dot loads of response. Is it going to accept or not? I'm not sure. Print of p data. If it is not going to accept, no issue. We can write the code. No. This one. Can you please observe? It is already JSON object must be str, bytes are not response. It is not. So obviously JSON here resp.json. It is already in the Python style only. Okay. Now how the data looks like? Can you please cross check how the data looks like? Sir, it is the list. It is the list first. In that list, how many elements are there? only one dictionary is there. In that dictionary, what is the sir, do you know price USD? Okay, this is the price USD is the variable name. Now what I'm trying to take is observe that. So print of, okay, Bitcoin price in dollars, in USD is print of, you know, here P data of 0. P data is the list. In that 0 means a dictionary. In that dictionary, I want to know the value of price okay, USD. Are you getting? Just a price USD. Okay, like now observe. Perfect. Are you seeing right? Okay, so now, sir, here this coinmarketcap.com provided this API, sir. Are getting provided this API. Now coinmarketcap.com can be accessible throughout the world from any other software application to get the results, because they developed the API. Now by using that API, now everyone can able to access that. It may be Python application or Angular application or Java application, like any application, right? Clear, right? Now this point is base URL. The remaining part is by default considered as endpoint. So now this coinmarketcap.com is a great, do you know, it is now it can be accessible globally by any other software application, need not be human beings. Correct, right? Correct. Any software application can able to communicate with that. That's what you should aware. Okay, like accessibility of this application is going to be more. Now any application can communicate with any other application if you can provide API. That is the biggest advantage of providing API. API developer is more worthy than normal Django developer. If the person who aware both, then too good. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we have to make our application into the production, Anil. This is the subdomains concept. This subdomain concept will be there in the live. Okay, yeah, correct. Data hiding also, we are not going to highlight our internal things. Single endpoint is always recommended. Shashank, because I showed, right, just for that purpose only I showed documentation. API documentation of IP stack. Pass, this is the endpoint, this is the base URL, this is the endpoint you require to use. If any access key, security key is there, this is the way you have to access. Now you will get JSON response in this style. If you are not a JSON consumer, XML consumer, now the response is going to come in this style. Okay, better to parse this data, better to use this one. Like, do you know? So these people are to provide that service, they are charging also. Are getting to provide that service, they are charging. So here just for price per 1 month, basic like do you know 50,000 requests per month, they will provide support. 5 lakhs requests per month, $50 you require to provide. 20 lakhs requests per month, $99 you require to provide. Even for their services, it is the paid. Okay, time zones, like time zone, from where the clients, sometimes what will happen for our application, from which location client is communicating, what is his IP address, I want to track what is his IP address, from where this person is communicating. Like if you want such type of services, don't build, contact these API developers, contact these people, already they have applications, just integrate this application to our Django application. It is not API calls, it is the just what we can use the word, it is requests. How many requests are coming? Like clear, right? Okay, so that's all. So do you want me to share this code? We had a discussion about okay, how to perform, how you can develop API to implement simple database CRUD operations without the REST framework. I didn't use REST framework, sir. Without the REST framework, how we can able to do that? That's what I explained. Okay, now I will go for one more example, sir, so that you people can feel more comfortable, right? Okay, without the REST M2. Let me take a small example, sir. Okay, here have a look once, sir. So from the scratch, I will develop this code so that even it is very helpful for you, just for practice sake also. That's why please have a look once. Okay, otherwise sometimes I may copy paste the previous code. Don't worry, sir. Here just the REST API apps voting. Next, here I'm taking Django admin start project. Django admin start project. Okay, here I'm taking without REST M2 like I'm taking, sir. This is my complete brand new project. Okay, now without the REST M2, like this I'm trying to enter. Next py manage.py manage.py start app test the app, like this I'm taking, sir. Okay, well, now let me open this application. Okay, let me open this application, sir. Okay, here have a look once. Here I'm taking first let me open settings.py. Let me open settings.py. Here just test app, like I'm taking, sir. Test app like I'm taking install apps. Now first thing you are trying to talk, you are talking about database CRUD API. That's why let me go for a simple table must be required for us. Okay, in the last example, which table we took, sir? Very simple table we took. What is the table we took? Have you remembered, right? Last example, I hope you may remember. What is that employee table? Okay, now let me take a class. This time I'm taking student table, sir. Okay, models dot model, like I'm taking models dot model. Okay, here name is equal to student name is equal to models dot char field, models dot char field of compulsory max length is equal to some 64 I'm taking, sir. Maximum length is the 64, like this I'm taking, sir. Similarly, do you know there are multiple fields are available, sir? Okay, name. Okay, now roll number. Okay, roll number models dot integer field, sir. Okay, integer field. Okay, now max length it won't be there for this name, roll number, and then marks also. Okay, name, roll number, marks also integer field only. Okay, like next, sir, name, roll number, marks. Okay, let me take for every student, assume that girlfriend is there, sir. Okay, marks is CGP, everything is related to that. Models dot char field. So maybe lady student is there, boyfriend. Okay, models dot char field, like this I have. Okay, well, now is it clear for all of you, right? So just class student name, roll number, marks, girlfriend, and then boyfriend, like these fields are available, right? Okay, well, so now the next thing what I have to take, sir, very simple, sir. Register this model in the admin. Register this model in the admin, sir. From test from test dot models import student. Okay, class student admin. Okay, here admin dot model admin. Okay, like very simple, sir. What I want to take here, list display is equal to let me take id. Next one after that, can you please confirm what are various fields are available, sir? Name, roll number, marks, girlfriend, boyfriend, like name. Next roll number, name, roll number. Next marks. Okay, marks. Next girlfriend. Next some boyfriend, like this we have. Okay, that's all. Next here admin dot site dot register of here student I'm taking, comma student admin I'm taking student admin, like this, right? That's all. So these are the things what we have, admin dot site dot register, like. Sir, now let me perform make migrations and then migrate. Okay, because from the scratch I want to explain so that you people can feel more comfortable, right? Manage.py. Okay, make migrations. Okay, like I'm taking. Can you please observe that carefully? Yes. Okay, well, next py, manage.py. Next migrate. Next, sir, create super user. Okay, now all these activities are very common activities right now. Everyone can able to understand easily, right? Durga 1 2 3. Next Durga 1 2 3, like this I took, sir. Password created, I mean super user created successfully. Okay, like now let me start py manage.py run server. Let me add some data. Okay, here 127/admin 127/admin, like I'm taking now. Why it's taking too much time? Yeah. Okay, now Durga, next Durga 1 2 3. That's it. Okay, well, so now students like table got created, sir. Yard. Okay, can you please observe that name? Can you spell out, sir? Assume the student name Aishwarya I'm taking, roll number 101. Next marks, some 90 marks I'm taking, girlfriend. Okay, sir, just Katina, something like a girlfriend, and a boyfriend I'm taking, sir. Okay, not Katina, sir, Priyanka. Assume the Priyanka, like next a boyfriend. Okay, so any boyfriend name you can use. Oh, Salman, Vivek Oberoi. Next, all these people are boyfriends only. Okay, now yes, Abhishek, like yes, all. Okay, next, can you please tell any other names, sir? Aishwarya. Next, let me take Salman. Okay, roll number 102 marks, some 95 marks is there. Girlfriend name Katina I'm taking, sir, girlfriend name Katina, boyfriend, assume that Amir Khan. Okay, Amir like this, right? Now, okay, next name, just only one more student information. Can you please tell any other? Any other? Shahrukh I'm taking, not Shahrukh. Okay, no problem. Shahrukh roll number 103. Next marks some 97. Next one after that, girlfriend name Kajol. I'm taking Kajol. Next boyfriend name maybe Shahrukh. Let me take Salman or something like this. I'm taking. I don't know. Okay. Now save. That's all. So this is just three students information is there, sir. That's all. So now I want to provide CRUD interface for this model. This is about CRUD API for this model. I want to do that, sir. How we can able to do? Very simple, sir. Let me open views.py. Regarding let me open views.py. What I want to do is just observe a bit very carefully about this terminology, right? Whatever we did in the last examples, yes, if you want most of the code happily we can able to copy paste, sir. Happily we can able to copy paste, or otherwise anyway just there is a gap, let me write again, there is no problem at all. Okay, like so now do you know what code we can able to take is, sir, do you know serializers we require. Next and after that we require to have serializer concept, we require to have, do you know, util like all these things, right? Just 1 minute, let me review our previous application so that you people can get some basic idea. So some basic idea. So it's a very easy for you people, right? Or otherwise let me open my classroom application only so that you can get much clarity. Nothing will be there, sir. Here the REST API apps without the REST M2 like this I'm taking, sir. Here have a look once. Parallelly I'm trying to open both because instead of writing much code, it's a very easy for you people. Nothing will be there, sir. Can you please confirm, is it the same or not? Is it the same or not? Okay, observe carefully, sir. Is it the same or not? Okay, well, now, sir, what I want to take is mixins.py. Regarding mixins or otherwise, let me go for views.py. Okay, views.py, sir. So now my requirement is sir, do you know, sir, here class student CRUD CBV I'm taking, sir. Just have a look once. So class student CRUD CBV like this I'm taking. Okay, here it is the child class of views are serialized mixin and a HTTP response mixin. Why I'm taking this one? Just within a minute you can able to take. Can I take this code in our project views.py? Can you please cross check, sir? Views.py. Yes, here just I'm taking class student. Can you please tell student CRUD CBV like this I'm taking, sir. Student CRUD CBV like, sir, now it is the child of view, sir. It is already everyone can aware, but if it is the child of view means, can you please tell which one I have to import? Please confirm from Django dot can you please spell out, sir? From Django dot views dot generic import view like this, right? Okay. Next, do you know sending JSON response? Sending JSON response is the very common activity, right? Okay. Next, converting. Okay, our Python dictionary to JSON to Python dictionary. These kind of things are very common. That's why what I want to take is a simple thing I want to take. Okay, serialized mixin. Can you please confirm what is mixin? Anyone? Can you please tell what is mixin, sir? Mixin is please confirm what is the mixin. Mixin is a class which can be used for code reusability. Regarding code reusability, for this purpose we are going to use a mixin code reusability purpose. Okay, it is responsible to provide some useful functions, useful methods to the child classes. Regarding methods to the child classes, like it should be direct child class of object. It is not having any dependency with any other. Okay, like sir, now what my requirement is just a very simple terminology, sir. What I will use, just have a look once, sir. My requirement is this is the class student CRUD CPV, right? Sir, now the first question I will ask. Sir, def get method I want to implement. Just observe a bit very carefully, sir. At least first method let me implement. So cf, okay, get self args comma star kw args, like this I'm taking. Okay, well, now the next step what I want to take is my partner application can send. Sir, he is asking, can you please, I want employee info, I want student information, like he is asking, he is sending the get request, sir. So I want student information. So if he want the student information, he may pass ID or he may not pass. Regarding he may pass or may not pass ID. Okay, pass, may not pass ID. If he is not going to pass ID, if he is not passing ID, then what will happen is, so we have to provide, if we are not going to pass ID, if he is not passing ID, all students information I require to provide. If he is going to pass ID, then automatically that particular student information only I have to provide. That's why, so the first activity what I have to get is, so first get the data. How you can able to get the data, sir? Data is equal to request dot body. Okay, end user provided partner application provided data is available. Okay, request dot body is equal to data. Okay, now the first question is this data is valid JSON or not? I want to check, sir. Is this data is a valid JSON or not? I require to check. Is it a valid JSON or not? Data should be in the JSON form. Is it valid JSON or not? How you can? Have you remembered, right? Have you? I hope you people may remember somewhere we covered to check is it JSON or not. Are you getting? Is it JSON or not? One util.py I define. Have you remembered, right? So if you pass the data, I'm trying to convert into, sir, Python dictionary form. If you can able to convert this one into Python, okay, data for Python native data type, then automatically dictionary, then automatically, yes man, it is a valid. So if you are facing any problems or value, then it is not valid JSON, return valid. Sir, very simple. Inside the utils.py, I defined some function. Is JSON or not? Remember this one, sir. Okay, sir. Let me go for. Can I copy paste this file? Please confirm. Can I copy paste this file directly instead of? Okay. Here just I'm trying to take inside the test. Inside the test. I'm trying to take paste. So now utils.py came, sir. Okay, this is utils.py came. It is related to our application, right? Okay. Now here very simple. Are you passing some JSON data or not? Okay. So to check for what I will take here is, okay, first we have to import from test dot utils import is JSON or not. Import is JSON or not. Okay, like now is the valid JSON. How you can able to check is it valid JSON or not? Is JSON of data, like this you have to pass. Any doubt, friends? Up to this is the clear for all of you, right? Very simple. What I'm trying to take, is it valid JSON or not? If it is the JSON valid JSON, its value will become true. If it is not valid JSON, this value will become false, sir. Okay. So now what I want to take here is Okay, the next thing what I have to take, if not a valid JSON, if not a valid JSON, if not a valid JSON, sir, it is not valid JSON, then immediately I have to provide JSON response. I require to provide JSON response saying, please send a valid JSON only. Okay, how you can provide JSON response, right? So for that, have you remembered, right? I implemented one mixin, sir. Mixin. I implemented one mixin. I mean, how many people remember? I'm not sure, sir. Just observe that. What that mixin is? Okay, from Django. Okay, this is, sir. Let me take mixins.py. 1 minute, sir. Just I'm using path by path. Don't worry about this. Here, test app. What is the file? I'm taking mixins.py. Okay, I'm taking a separate file, sir. Now, have a look once, sir. From Django.http, import HTTP response. Okay, class HTTP response mixin, which is the child of objects, render to HTTP response self, comma, data status is equal to 200. Return HTTP response off. I hope everyone in the position to understand. Please confirm. Okay, you require to pass JSON data. Then automatically default value for status is 200. Like now. I want to use this one inside my views.py. Okay, if it is not valid, can you please tell how you can import this mixin? First, can you please import from test app? Okay, sir, dot mixins import HTTP response mixin. Okay, then. This HTTP response mixin, sir, here we have to define as the parent. So that this HTTP response mixin, the surrender to HTTP response method by default available. So if it is not a valid JSON, return self dot render to HTTP response of JSON data we require to provide. How you can provide JSON data? How we can provide JSON data, sir? Very, very simple. What I want to take is JSON dot dumps of, do you know, if you provide Python dictionary message, please provide valid JSON data only. Okay, like this, right? So do you know this total thing is converting okay Python dictionary into JSON, right? Comma status is equal to okay 400. Assume that because the problem is his end user partner application is not sending sir data properly. That's why it is the client error. We are going to specify the status as 400 like this, right? Okay, well, but to work this one, compulsory here import JSON like this we have to take. Can you please observe? Any doubt up to this, friends? Clear for all of friends? If it is not valid JSON, can you please return? Like this, right? Okay, well. So now when the control will comes to line number 14, when the control will comes to line number 14, if the data is valid JSON, if the data is a valid JSON, now my requirement is in this data ID is available or not, because my partner application may send ID or may not send ID. Partner application may send ID or may not send ID. 1 minute, sir. Here, let me take a test.py also. Okay, let me take a test.py. Inside our project, let me paste that, because partner application just I copy pasted, right? Don't worry about that. I will. Here, if you observe this test.py, okay, test.py. Forget about all these total codes. Forget about this one. Here, all the things I just commented. Okay. Here, just observe. Just observe. This is about my HTTP URL. Endpoint is API. Get resource ID is equal to none. If ID is not none, okay. Do you know you may pass ID or you may not pass ID? Remember this one. You may pass ID or you may not pass ID. If you are not passing any ID, then empty dictionary will send. If you are passing any ID, then our dictionary contain JSON contain. Okay, this one, sir. Okay, JSON contain ID. Now in our view function, okay, views class, what I'm taking is yes, it is a valid JSON only. Can you please convert this data into Python data dictionary, sir? Here very simple. JSON dot. Okay, JSON dot. Have you remembered, right? Loads. JSON dot loads of data. Loads of data. Data is request.body, sir. Now this body will be converted into Python dictionary. Now let me get ID. ID is equal to Python data dot get of ID. If ID is not available, can you please take none, sir? Remember this one. If ID is not available, then can you please take none, sir? So now I converted the JSON data into Python data. Now I will check is the Python data contain ID or not like that. Next, if ID is not none. Regarding if ID is not none, oh, he is asking a particular student information because ID is not none. Remember this one. If ID is not none, sir, I want to get corresponding object. That object information. Okay, I have to send the response. This is about my requirement, right? How you can? Okay, very simple, sir. Can you please guide? What is the way? Can you please guide? What is the way? Student is equal to student dot objects. Student dot objects dot get of ID is equal to ID. Something like. But instead of this one, because it may require multiple times, what I want to take, sir, one utility method I want to define. Regarding one utility method I want to define, sir. Yes, already I defined this one. Here, just have a look once, sir. What is this method is? Observe a bit very carefully, sir. Just if you can provide ID, now it is going to get corresponding object. If there is no such type of object, S value will become none, return yes, sir. Sir, I have one small doubt, sir. This is the utility method. This method can be called inside put method, inside delete method, inside post method, anywhere you can able to call. So the biggest advantage what we are going to get is, okay, code reusability is going to come because if I separate that functionality. Next, if ID is available, if the specified ID corresponding student is available, what this method is going to return? Anyone can you please tell? If the corresponding ID is available, then what this method is going to return? Return student object. Correct or not? Return student object. If the ID is not available, then simply it is going to return what? None. If the ID is not available, simply it is going to return none. That's all. So first we require to import, okay, from test dot models. Okay, import student, like this I have to take, sir. Okay, now here take very special care, sir. std is equal to, this method is already available. Sir. Self dot get the object by ID of ID. Okay, just pass this ID. Now the corresponding student object, this function is the responsible to provide. But here there is one small twist is there. With this ID, suppose I provided ID as 100, sir. With this 100 ID, no student, then simply it is going to return none. That's why what I have to check here is if std is none. What is the meaning of that? Can you please confirm? What is the meaning of this one? Please respond, sir. What it means? If std is none means no record with that ID. Are you getting? No record with that ID. Then, sir, it is the client mistake only. Now, what I want to take is return render to response message. No, here just here no matched record found. No matched record found with the matched ID. No matched record found with the matched ID. Like this I'm taking, sir. If the student std is none, if the student is none, no matched record found. Like this, right? Okay. Well, you have to very clearly write that. Okay. Just observe that. Okay. Well, next, when the control will comes to roll number 27, can you please confirm? When the control will comes to line number 27, if student exists, correct or not? If the student exists, right? So if the student exists, that the student information we have to provide to the partner application. Okay, but that student information, how you can provide to the partner application? Compulsory, we require to convert into JSON. But anyway, to convert into JSON, have you remembered, right? We covered Django, okay, serialize function. Okay, there is a mixin I want to define. Okay, have a look once, sir. There is a mixin is there. There is a mixin is there. This is the mixin to convert Python model object into corresponding JSON data. Okay, mixins. Here mixin, I'm taking one more mixin, sir. Have a look once. From Django.core.serializers, import serialize. Okay, import JSON, serialize mixin. Okay, JSON data is equal to serialize of JSON, sir, query set. Query set. Okay, like this, query set. It is a list of objects, sir, query set. So now this one convert into Python dictionary. Convert into Python dictionary. So this one is responsible to provide only data instead of meta information, return JSON data. In the last classes, yes, I clearly explained this concept. Any explanation is required? Can you please observe? Any explanation is required about this serialized mixin? Okay, just go through that, the people who are having any doubt. Okay, now have a look one. Shashank, don't worry. Sir, here it seems query set object, even single object also in the query set form we can able to pass. Don't worry. It is the here now first step. How I can make it available? Better to, sir, HTTP response mixin, comma. What is this mixin, sir? Can you please confirm? Can you please guide what is the mixin name? Serialize mixin. Are you getting? What is the mixin name, sir? Serialize mixin. This is serialize mixin. We have to take as the parent class. Okay, well, now if the student is available, first we have to get JSON data. Are you getting? If the student is available, first we have to get JSON data, sir. How you can get the JSON data? Okay, here JSON data is equal to JSON data is equal to, sir, very simple, self dot serialize. I'm calling that serialize method. Here Shashank, observe that carefully. Here we have only student object, not query set. Here we have only student object but not query set. How I'm trying to handle is I'm sending this student object in the list form. I'm sending this student object in the list form so that it will become list of objects only, query set only. Don't worry about that. Clear, right? If it is a query set, directly QS you can pass. If it is not query set, if it is a single object, how you can pass in the form of query set is this is the style. Okay, well, JSON data is ready, sir. Now return. Okay, return self dot HTTP self dot render to HTTP response, or simply JSON data we have to pass. Are you getting? Simply JSON data we require to pass, right? Okay, status code we are not required to pass, content type we are not required to pass, status code, content type, everything is going to take care by my mixin. Are you getting? Everything is going to take care by mixin, sir. Okay, remember this one. Okay, now without rest, yeah. Everything is going to take care by this mixin. Sir, very simple. Content type JSON, status is default value already 200. Now we require to pass only JSON data. That's all, sir. Mixin is going to take care about that. Not required to worry. Clear? Any doubt about this one? Please confirm. Okay. Now, sir, can you please tell when the control will comes to line number 29? Please confirm. When the control will comes to line number 29. Oi. Good. Please confirm. Line number 29. When the control will comes to line number 29. If ID is none. If ID is none, means partner application, he didn't send any ID. Are you getting? Partner application, he didn't send any ID. If he is not sending any ID, then which response I have to provide? We have to provide all students information we require to provide. Correct, right? Now I'm taking QS is equal to, okay, student dot objects dot all. Student dot objects dot all JSON data is equal to self dot serialize of just the pass query set. Are you getting? Just pass query set, that's all. So if I pass just query set, return self dot HTTP response, self dot render to HTTP response of JSON data. That's it. Get method functionality got completed. Are you getting? So first method only will be difficult. Second method onwards is very easy. Don't worry about this. Can you please cross check, sir? Nandakishore. So if this return statement is not going to execute, then only the control will come to this place. Okay. If this return statement is not going to be executed, then only the control will come to this place. What is the need of using what we call, what is the need of using else part? Not required. Clear, right? That's it. This is the very simple terminology what we have related to our get. Okay, get functionality is ready. Sir, observe, very simple, sir. Have a look once. So what these lines are doing? Anyone can you please tell? Get the data, whatever sent by the partner application. Now is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, then provide 400 status code response saying please provide valid JSON data only. Okay, well, next what it is going to do, what the remaining lines is going to do that. Sir, very simple. What it will do, get the convert JSON data into Python data and the check is the ID is available or not. If ID is available, can you please get the corresponding student object? If the student is not available, no matched student found with the matched ID like this. If the student is available, then automatically, sir, provide JSON data. That's all. So if ID is not available, means can you please provide all students information? That's it. Are you feeling line to line? You can able to understand very easily. Can you please confirm? Yes, Shashank, maybe a chance. Don't worry. Okay, well, now here that's it. Sir, partner application is also ready. Partner application is also ready, sir. It is ready. So he is in a position to send get request. But only one file I have to define. what urls.py. Okay, here compulsory we require to take care about urls.py. Okay, from test app, import the views, from test app import the views. Okay, now here what I have to take is URL is API. That's all. Can you please tell views data sir student cred cbv data as a view. That's it. Clear, right? Next, even get the object by id method. Yes, here whatever we are taking, get object by id, this method, even you can separate into either utils or otherwise, either utils you can take, or otherwise we can take even in mixins also. Yes, no problem, we can. Okay, then let me send a request. Is everything is working properly or not? I want to check, sir. Server is ready. Let me go for command prompt to run my partner application. REST API apps OT. Next, without REST M2, like this I'm taking py test.py. Now take very special case, sir. How this test.py I took? Observe very carefully. Sir, I'm not passing any ID. If you are not passing any ID, can you please tell what it has to provide? If I'm not passing any ID, can you please tell what it has to provide? It has to provide all students information like this, right? Okay, well, now let me send the request. Can you please observe that? Perfect. What is the status code we are getting? 200. First student information. You are getting name Aishwarya, roll number 101, marks 90, girlfriend, boyfriend, like this, right? Second student information, third student information, like we are going to get. Okay, all the students information we are getting, sir. Assume I want to get employee, student with the ID 1, only ID 1, sir. Have a look once. Only first student information we are getting, sir. Are getting only first student information we are getting. Sir, I don't want 1, I want 3, sir. I want 3. Okay, well, now here do you know, sir, third student information we are getting, sir. Now assume that 30 I'm taking. Can you please tell what will happen? If I can pass 30, what will happen? No matched student found with this ID. No matched student found with this ID. Observe 400. No matched record found with this matched ID. Wow. Everything is working properly. Not required to keep much explanation about this terminology. Clear, friends? Any explanation is required about this get method? Now I hope for the long gap, now slowly converting into our regular terminology. Clear, right? Okay, well, now can I go for post method or not? RESP.json is not JSON. It is not JSON response in our partner application. Shashank. RESP.json is the Python dict form only. Dict or otherwise Python object only. Okay. RESP.json is the responsible to convert into Python terminology. Don't worry. Can I go for post method? Still any problem up to this? Here two operations we covered. List operation and a detail operation. Correct or not? Can you please list out? All student information. List out all student information. Okay, sir, I want details of a particular student. Both operations we covered, sir. Okay, okay. Sir, next. Can I go to the next level? What the next operation? Yes, friends. What's the next operation we have to take? Sir, get post operation, right? Okay. Let me comment this get. Let me open this post functionality, right? Okay. Now have a look once, sir. Create resource. I'm taking new student, name Dhoni, roll number 105, marks 32, girlfriend Deepika, boyfriend Yuvraj. Like I'm taking, sir. Now, sir, request.post base URL endpoint data is equal to JSON.dumps of, okay, like our status code r.json. Sir, now do you know what I'm trying to take is, can you please create a resource? I want to call this method. But here, whenever we are sending post request, compulsory you require to do a small activity, sir. Anyone, can you please tell what is that activity? A small activity must be required. What is that? Disable CSRF verification. If you want to disable CSRF verification, already you aware the code, sir. Okay, 1 minute. Let me open user.py. Previous code. Have you remembered? I hope these 3 lines are responsible to disable, okay, for a particular class. For all methods present inside particular class, this one is the responsible. Now have a look once, sir. Can you please observe? Can you please observe this one? Any explanation is required? Okay, CSRF verification. Okay, disable CSRF verification at a class based view at a particular class level. Okay, like I took, sir. Next one. Okay, how we can send the request? How you can send the request post request, sir. Okay, partner application is also ready, sir. This is the partner application. Now the post method, I don't think you are going to get some difficulty to understand this. But here, have you remembered, right? If you want to post data, let me take the method first. Can you please tell complete signature of this method? Please confirm def post, okay, self comma request comma star args comma star kw args. Okay, up to get functionality is the very clear. Now I want to implement post functionality, right? The first question I want to ask, hey, what is the data provided by end user man? Okay, data is equal to request.body. Data is equal to request.body. Now my first question, is it valid JSON data or not? Okay, now can you please observe that? Can you please observe this? Is it a valid JSON data or not? I'm taking, sir. Can you please observe carefully? Okay, data I got. Is it valid JSON or not? Okay, if it is not valid JSON, okay, like I'm trying to take, sir. If it is not valid JSON, please provide valid JSON. Sir, can you please confirm? Up to this, any doubt? Please respond. Up to this, any doubt? Okay, just I got the data and I'm checking whether this data is valid or not. If it is not valid JSON, please provide. Okay, like you are going to tell. Next, what I have to take, sir, very important. Okay, if it is valid JSON, if it is valid JSON, okay, now student data is equal to JSON dot loads of data, sir. Already request.body is available into, now converting into Python dictionary. Okay, well, sir, now with this Python dictionary, we have to, form must be required. If you want to post, form must be required. Have you remember, right? Form object, form must be required. That's why compulsory you require to take forms.py. Regarding compulsory, we require to take forms.py. Okay, well, sir, have a look once. what I want to take, copy, don't worry, just I will show the code. Copy, okay, because is already you are very much familiar, that's why I'm just copy paste this one. Okay, can you please forms.py, can you please have a look once? Even validation also I implemented. Is it possible to implement validation? Validation, yes, clean marks like this, right? Okay, form level validation, we can able to do that. Sir, student forms dot model form, class meta, model is equal to student, fields is equal to all. Sir, what is the validation I implemented here? Only for the marks. Compulsory, the marks should be greater than or equal to 35, sir. By mistake, if the marks are not greater than or equal to 35, that the data won't be inserted. Simply it is going to raise validation error. Because form.errors, that information also I want to include. Sir, can you please confirm everyone, any doubt about this form? If anywhere explanation is required, please let me know. If anywhere explanation is required, please let me know so that I will explain. Any doubt? Can I use this one? Okay, well, here, now let me go to user.py. So if you want to use forms, let me compulsory from str.forms import student form. Import student form. Okay, like now what I want to take, I got student data. I got student data. With this student data, create a form object. Form is equal to student form of form is equal to student form of, what is the code I have to take, sir? Student data, like this, right? Create a form object. Sir, next here form dot is valid. If the form is the valid, if the form is the valid, sir. Can you please save this one? Form dot save of commit is equal to true. I'm taking, sir. Can you please save? Can you please save? Like commit is equal to true. If sir, if it is the valid, if it is the successfully inserted, now you have to provide some response. You have to provide some response. Here, message resource inserted successfully. Okay, successfully. Resource inserted successfully or resource created successfully. Okay, status we are not required to pass. Can you please confirm? Any doubt about this one? Observe that. Any doubt about this one? If it is a valid, validation is completed. Like now, can you please tell when the control will comes to line number 46? Please confirm. When the control will comes to line number 46, okay, very simple. If there is any errors, if the verification fails, okay, now what I want to take is return, okay. What we have to take, sir. So if it is return, sir, JSON data is equal to just if form dot errors, then only, right? We are not required to take if form dot is valid. If it fails means if form dot errors, JSON data is equal to JSON data is equal to JSON dot dumps of form dot errors. Sir, whatever data, whatever errors we have with that, can you please create JSON data return self dot render to HTTP response of JSON data, comma status is equal to some 400, like this I'm taking, sir. That's all. So post method is also completed. I don't think you people are going to face some problem. Any doubt? Can you please have a look once? Here I'm getting the data. If is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please provide valid JSON data only. So now, if it is the valid JSON, get the data. With that, create a form object, and then if the form validation succeed, save and provide 200 status code response saying resource created successfully. If any errors are there, then automatically JSON data start saying with that errors information like you can set. That's it. Post is ready. Can I go for next one? Can you please confirm? Can I execute this code? Here, legend this one. Legend, let me trace, let me test whether it is working properly or not. Okay, here just I'm taking not Dhoni, Akshay I'm taking Akshay Kumar, roll number 104. Okay, marks some 85 like this. Girlfriend Priyanka, like I'm taking Priyanka. Next the boyfriend Rajini, like I'm taking sir. Okay, now clear this is. Sir, either validation is going to succeed or not? Yes, friends. Is the validation is going to be succeeded or not? Yes, so how the validations are implemented is marks less than 35, then only fails. Okay, now let me cross check. Okay, let me execute, let me check the server. Is it proper or not? Yes, no problem at all. Okay, now let me execute this code. Resource created successfully. Really, in the database, is this resource came or not? Can you please cross check? Akshay, okay, Akshay 104, 85, Priyanka, Rajini, like we have this data. Yes, perfectly, it's working, sir. Sir, now what I want to take is next student. I want to introduce Dhoni. Okay, 105 marks, just 32 marks I'm taking. Girlfriend name, okay, Deepika, like this I'm taking. Boyfriend name, Yuvraj, like I'm taking, sir. That's all. Can you please confirm? Is sir here? Can you confirm? Is this one is going to be inserted or not? No, it is not valid data. Regarding it's not valid data because the reason is marks is 32. 32 means here minimum marks should be 35. That's why it should not be inserted. Simply it is going to tell that okay, errors, whatever error it got. Can you please observe? Marks should be. Are you getting? Form dot errors is the responsible to provide this information. Everyone in the position to understand this code. Clear, friends? Okay, this is the post method completed, right? Sir, now the next cinema, what I want to take, sir, put method. Okay, put method, sir. DEF, okay, put up self comma request comma here star args kw args. Okay, star args comma kw args, like. So now very simple. Get the data. Is it valid JSON or not? Get the data. Is it valid JSON or not? So like the first few lines. Can I copy paste this code? Any doubt? If it is not valid JSON, okay, like status is equal to like. Now the control is coming to line number 54. line number 54, when it's going to be executed, when this one is going to be executed, very simple, sir. Okay, very simple. If the data is valid data, okay, 1 minute, test.py, let me show so that you people can feel more comfortable. Okay, let me comment this post method code. Now here, do you know, this is the code, sir. For updation, this is the code, sir. Now have a look once. New data is you require to pass ID, sir. ID. Next, girlfriend Sakshi, something like ID is the 5. Okay, like that. Sir, one minute. ID. Dhoni record inserted or not inserted? Can you please confirm? Dhoni record inserted or not inserted? Not inserted, right? Yes. Okay. So assume I will change that. No problem at all. Dhoni is not inserted. That's why let me take 4 instead of Akshay. Instead of Sakshi, here I'm taking Twinkle Kanna, right? Yeah. So now this is just what I'm trying to take, sir. So this is the with the 4, sir. Girlfriend name, can you please change? Girlfriend name, can you please change like this, right? Sir, who is the wife of Akshay Kumar? Ayo, you don't know? Wife of Akshay Kumar. Aware or not? Twinkle, correct, right? Twinkle Kanna. Okay, correct. So, sir, once do you know, I want to update. I want to update. Okay. So girlfriend name, yeah, the Twinkle instead of Priyanka, because before marriage, any girlfriend, no problem at all. Once marriage, all girlfriends, all passwords should be wife name only. Okay. Like just I'm taking. Now here we have to update this data. Okay, then. So now he is providing complete data or only required data. Have you observed? Only required data. Sir, he is providing only required data. Was only girlfriend name. That's why. So complete data is not available. You require to take a bit special care about this one, sir. So provided data is equal to JSON dot loads of data. JSON dot loads of data, sir. Okay, well, compulsory ID must be available. Correct or not? ID must be available or not? Because if the ID is not available, then for which record you want to perform updation? ID must be available. That's why what I want to take is, sir, somewhere ID checking is there. ID is equal to if ID is equal to if this ID, if it is not there, like we are going to get. Okay, just take a bit very special care, sir. What I'm trying to take is, now have a look once, sir. Observe a bit very carefully, sir. Here I'm taking, so ID is equal to provided data dot get of ID comma none. If ID is not none, sir. Sir, just take very special care. If ID is a none, let me take this one, because not none, I want to do a big activity. If ID is a none, sir, none, like here I want to provide. Here I want to provide JSON.dumps to perform updation. ID must be mandatory. To perform updation, ID is mandatory. ID is mandatory. Please provide. Any doubt? Can you please cross check? If ID value is a none, like, sir, ID is not none. ID is not none, sir. Now get the original data, whatever there, sir. data, whatever there with the matched ID. Okay, like now, do you know what I have to take here is std student object is equal to, can I use the word self dot get the object by ID, self dot get object by ID of ID. Is it valid or not? Can you please confirm? If ID is a none, okay. If ID is not a none, then only I'm getting sir. Sir, again, you have to check if with this ID, sir, maybe, sir, data is not available. If the student may be none, if std is a none, if std is a none, sir, none, what I want to take is here very simple, very simple, sir. Return JSON, okay, no matched record found, no matched record found or resource found with the given ID. Sir, all the people are in a position to understand? Please confirm. It is not any new thing I'm discussing, sir. It's already known thing. Sir, if student is a none, then automatically this is. If the student data, if the student object is not none, then original data is equal to, okay, compulsory you require to provide, sir, from this student object you have to get name, roll number, marks, girlfriend, boyfriend, something like that. Okay, no issue at all. Let me type, sir, matter of 2 minutes. Name is std dot name, okay, comma, what is the next one, sir? Can you please have a look once? What is the second one? Roll number, okay, std dot roll number, okay. Next marks, std dot marks. Next name, roll number. Next girlfriend, std dot girlfriend. Next boyfriend, okay, boyfriend, std dot boyfriend. That's it, sir. This is the original data. Are you getting? This is the original data which is already there in the database, but this one is provided data. With this provided data should be updated in this original data. Have you remembered, right? This provided data should be updated in this original data. Okay, this is about my requirement. Anyone, can you please tell the code? What is the next line? Only one line. Have you remembered, right? Only one line. I told some code. How many people remembered? I don't know. There is one method I covered. One method. Update is the method. Okay, update is the method, sir. What the code? Original data data update of provided data. That's all, sir. So whatever provided data, this data, can you please update in original data? Now original data contains required updations also. Well, friends, any doubt up to this? Clear? Now this original data, can you please update in the database? This is about my requirement, right? Very simple, sir. Form is equal to student form. Form is equal to student form of original data, comma, very important. I hope you people may remember instance is equal to std. Sir, if I'm not passing this instance, what will happen? Please confirm. If I'm not passing this instance is equal to std, it is always going to create new object. Regarding, I don't want to create new object. Can you please update this data? With this existing student? with this existing student, like this I have to take, sir. Form is ready. Form itself is ready, sir. Now, if form not valid, can you please send? Okay, can you please save? If it is invalid, can you please drop something like, okay? Now the remaining code I can copy paste from here, sir. Yeah, most of the code is copy paste only. good to practice copy paste activity. Okay, here see this one. Form is equal to like this. Now if it is valid, save this one. Resource updated successfully. Otherwise JSON.dumps, okay, like this, right? Any doubt? So this copy paste also better to practice, because in companies also 90% of the work should be done with copy paste only. Okay, good. Now the put method is also completed, sir. Let me cross check whether it is working properly or not. Okay, now here I'm taking ID as the twinkle. Okay, observe that ID as the twinkle like this I'm taking, sir. Now my requirement is, let me execute this code, sir. Resource updated successfully. Now onwards, instead of Priyanka, okay, girlfriend name should be Twinkle. Let me cross check. Yes, is it got changed or not? Getting right? Next up, suppose I want to take, I don't want to use a Twinkle, sir. I'm using some Katrina girlfriend name. Next, marks is some 23 marks I'm taking, sir. Can you please have a look once, sir? Okay, marks is 23 marks like this I'm taking. Is this record should be updated or not? Should be updated or not? No, correct, right? It is not going to be updated because validation is there. That validation fails. Now observe that. Now what will happen, sir? Okay, marks should be greater than or equal to 35. Like this is asking. Perfect. Now update method is also completed. Any explanation is required about this one? Okay. Can I use what is the next method? Delete is the last activity. Just bear for few more minutes. Delete. Sir, delete, just you require to pass ID, because ID must be mandatory to delete. If you are not going to pass ID, then how we can perform delete operation? Compulsory we require to delete. Okay, ID must be required. So for that, what you can take is very simple logic, sir. Let me take the method first. Def delete of self comma request comma star args comma star kw args. Okay, like I'm taking. Now what my next thing? Okay, sir, get the data. Is it valid JSON or not? You have to check. Next, in the ID is available or not? If the ID is not available, please to perform delete, compulsory ID must be required. So if ID is available, then get the corresponding object. If the object is none, then okay, like we have some code. Okay, now have you observed what I'm trying to take? Can I copy paste this code? Valid JSON. Okay, if ID is not none, get. If the student is none, okay, well, perfect. Now this code. Can you please observe? First I got the data. Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, like now provided data JSON ID is equal to like, if ID is none, okay, then immediately to perform deletion, deletion, ID is mandatory, please provide. Now ID is there, get the corresponding. If it is a none, then automatically no match record found with the given ID. Not possible to delete. Not possible to delete. That's all. What is the next thing? Okay, if the student is not none means the corresponding student object is already available. If it is available, can you please tell sir what is the code we have to take? Have you remembered at our childhood somewhere we covered? Okay, student std dot delete. Std dot delete. That's all. But anyway, this delete is going to return two things. One is status, comma, deleted item, comma, status, deleted item like this, right? So now, if status is equal to 1, if the status is equal to 1, okay, like have you remembered, right? Somewhere we covered already this complete code. Let me, instead of writing, let me copy paste this delete operation last few lines. So if status is equal to 100, like if status is equal to 1, can you please observe? If the status is equal to 1, resource deleted successfully, return self dot render to static response of JSON data, JSON dot dumps, unable to delete, please try again. Okay, like this. Can you please confirm? Any doubt? Yes, friends. Any doubt about this terminology? Okay. Now let me cross check. Is the delete operation is going to work or not? Okay. Now test.py. Test.py. Here, which resource I want to delete? Number 4 resource. Number 4 resource I want to delete, sir. ID. Suppose I'm not passing ID, what will happen? If I'm not passing ID, what will happen? If you are not passing ID, okay, then it will become empty. Compulsory you require to pass ID, sir. Assume that. Okay. Here, if I'm not passing ID, what will happen? Empty dictionary I'm passing. Now have a look once. To perform deletion, ID is mandatory, please provide. Regarding to perform deletion, ID is mandatory, please provide. Okay. Now I want to pass ID. But now which ID I'm passing? 5. With the 5 ID, no matched record. What will happen, sir? With the 5 ID, no matched record. No matched record found with the given ID, not possible to delete. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well. Now let me take 4 Akshay record is available, sir. Akshay record is available. Now have a look once. Resource deleted successfully. Let me cross check in my database. Is the resource deleted or not? Yes, resource already deleted. Now only 3 records are available. Any doubt? Sir, I want to delete one more record. Sir, 1 Aishwarya record also. Okay, if you want to delete one Aishwarya record, just pass that one and execute this code. Resource deleted successfully. If you want, you can cross check. Aishwarya record also gone. Only 2 and 3. Only 2 students are available. Okay. This is the beautiful application, sir. How you can perform, how you can implement sir API development without using REST framework, just purely by using the Django. So the biggest advantage is, so even tomorrow if you are not having any framework also, you should be in a position to develop API. Clear, right? Okay. Yeah, you can do Saiteja. You can able to do that. Just execute that file. All the method calls will be executed one by one, one by one. All 4 operations at a time you can do that. Just for explanation purpose, one by one I took. Get operation, and then create operation, and then update operation, and then delete operation. All the things we can do that. No problem. Okay. So this is about without REST API. Just 2 examples I covered, almost around 10 sessions we spend only on this. Okay, tomorrow onwards, REST framework I will discuss in the next sessions. Don't miss next sessions. It's very easy, nothing, because majority required things already we covered. Then these activities, instead of doing this much work, we have to simplify this and we have to perform very easily. That is our next step. Okay. Right, sir. So tomorrow we'll meet for the continuation. Thanks for everyone.